So then how do we stay positive in this pandemic? How do we learn to be thankful in all circumstances? How do we do that? How can we move from grumbling to gratitude? How can we rein in our complaining? Well, here's one of the top steps, not the only one, but it's a great place to start. And let me tell you, when I show you this step, some of you are going to be like, oh, I know that. I know that. But let me tell you, this is not something we naturally do, especially when we're in problems. So here it is. You want to become more thankful in everything? Here it is. You count your blessings instead of counting your problems. Now, here's why this is hard. Our natural fleshly nature is to count our problems instead of counting our blessings. And so God knows that. And so that's why he says, I want you to be thankful in all circumstances. Rein in your complaining. Count your blessings instead of counting your problems. I remember years ago, my wife and I had gotten to this argument, and I remember leaving the house, and she was mad at me, and I was mad at her. And so I called up one of my mentors who at the time lived in Australia. And I started sharing with him what we were arguing about, and I wanted him to side with me, like to kind of validate my feelings. And so I started sharing things with him, and I said, so what do you think? I wanted him to side with me. And he says this, first thing he says is this, he says, Dave, I want you to tell me 10 things that you're grateful for about Lisa. I was like, have you ever called somebody and you're like, why did I call this person? And so I'm kind of silent thinking, why did I call this guy? He says, Dave, I want you to tell me 10 things you're grateful for about Lisa. And I'm like, I stopped. I was like, I can't think of anything. He's like, Dave, give it some more thought. I was like, I'm grateful. She's pretty. She's pretty frustrating. He's like, keep going. I said, I'm grateful she stayed committed to our marriage, but it's been hard. I'm grateful she's been a good mother to our children. I'm grateful that she loves Jesus as much as she does. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for how hard she works, how selfless she can be. And in all of these things I was thankful and grateful for just starts rolling off of my tongue. And by the time I got to 25, he goes, all right, that's enough, Dave. You can stop. And then I was like, man, I tell him, my wife's amazing. I was like, I gotta go. So I hang up the phone and I call up my wife. I was like, babe, I'm so sorry we got into an argument. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. I was like, I just want you to know I'm so grateful for you. She's like, oh, really? Well, why don't you tell me why you're grateful? And I started to tell her. But I share that example with you because I want you to think about it. My problems didn't change, but my perspective changed. My problems didn't change at all, but my attitude changed from grumbling to gratitude. Why? Because I chose to be thankful in this situation. I chose to think about, what am I thankful for with this wife of mine? What am I grateful for? And it shifted everything. See, God knows the power of gratitude. So let me ask you, who have you been complaining about lately? Who has been irritating you? Who has been annoying you? Is it somebody that you live with? Don't look at them. Is it your in-laws? Is it your kids? Maybe you're not married and you got a boyfriend and he's just irritating you, or a girlfriend, or maybe it's somebody you work with and you've just been like, oh man, they are so irritating. They didn't do this, they didn't do that. Who's been irritating you? Here's what I want you to do. Tell me 10 things you're grateful for about them. I'm serious. I want you right now to think of 10 things you're grateful for about your spouse. I want you to think about 10 things you're thankful for about that person at work. Think of 10 things you're grateful for about your son or your daughter. Think about 10 things you're grateful for and watch how that can shift from grumbling to gratitude. And all of a sudden you start to see, wow, this person actually is a blessing. They're not perfect. Yes, they can be frustrating, but they also have a lot of good in them. Now, some of you, as I was asking you, think of a person that's irritated. You thought, I really can't think of anybody. And if that's you, man, awesome. But maybe there's been a problem that's been irritating you. Maybe there's been an issue that's been frustrating you. Maybe it's politicians. Maybe it's the pandemic. Maybe it's health issues. Maybe it's your finances. Maybe it's just some problem. And you've been complaining about it. You've been irritated and frustrated about that problem. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to think about 10 things you're grateful for in that problem. Think of 10 things you can be grateful for. You know, in this pandemic we're going through, there are blessings all around us. Tons. Way more than 10. And so if we stop long enough and we ask God, open my eyes to the blessings and the things I can be grateful for, you'll find so many things. And listen, if you can't think of anything in your problem to be thankful for, you know what you can be thankful for? God, that God is with you. He'll never forsake you. You can praise God for his promises. You can thank him for all that he's already done in your life. You can thank him for what he promises to do. There's just so many things. There's literally thousands of things we can be thankful for.